G'day, Mark Di Pasquale here once again, and Dr. Sean Campbell. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
We're here at One Health and Fitness Centre with Adjusted Chiropractic within the centre, and what we're doing is we're talking today about supplements. I mean, it's only going to be a short snippet, and we can't cover everything with regards to supplements today, can we? We're going to have a good foundation.
Endless amount of information out there on supplements.
And just a presence too. I think out in the media or on TV, there's a lot of information out there. You walk into the supermarket, or you walk into the pharmacy, and you just see walls and walls of supplements, and you think, you know, what's right, what's wrong, what are the best ones. So let's just pull that apart a little bit today. So,
and there's a lot of conflicting information out there as well. So I know, you have a story run on the news one week about how bad something is for you, and then the next week they're running another story on how good it is.
What do you believe, basically?
Yeah.
So so when we are dealing with patients, what is it that we want to establish with regards to nutrition, supplementation, etc.? What is it that we want to sort of strip away and then start as the foundations of supplementation?
Yeah, well, the main thing I'm always looking for is the body under duress?
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean, how inflammatory are you?
Okay, so is it more stress or inflammation, or what is it that we're looking for?
Yeah, it's a lot of the questions that I ask in that first visit. I want to gauge how inflammatory the body is.
Yeah.
So the way I look for that sort of thing is through certain immune system markers, things like do they have allergies? Do they have intolerances? Do they get rashes? How easily they get sick? Do they get swelling? Do they get arthritis? Do they get joint pain? These sorts of things. So all these things that can indicate some sort of increased inflammatory process going on.
Right, because often I think when people go and see their doctor, they're looking at parts of that inflammation coming out. So whether it be a rash or whether it be something wrong with the digestive system. But is it more that there is inflammation throughout the entire body, or is it in certain areas of the body? Where should people be looking for it?
Yeah, well, inflammation is a systemic thing, so that means it occurs throughout the entire body, and really it's, for the majority of people, it stems from what's going on in the digestive system.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the gateway to the body. It's where things from the outside environment interact with things on the inside environment of the body, because we've got to remember that our digestive tract is not on the inside of our body, that's actually the outside of our body. It's once it crosses through the digestive tract into the bloodstream, now it's inside the body, and that's when we're seeing inflammation coming from the digestive system into the bloodstream and then affecting all these other areas.
Wow, that's extraordinary, because what I originally thought many years ago was as soon as you put something into your mouth, like a piece of food or an apple or something like that, well, then it's in your body. But it's not actually in your body until it actually gets broken down into nutrients and then gets absorbed into the body. So
precisely.
It's quite an interesting system that we actually have, and that's that's possibly why there's such a big immune system, or such a big immune system component in our digestive system, because it actually has to protect ourselves from the outside world and what's coming in or what's trying to get into our bodies and take over.
Yeah, and you hear these percentages, like 80% of the immune system is controlled by the digestive system and things like that. Yeah, they usually throw around these sort of numbers.
So that raises a great question. So how does the digestive system play into immune system? Like, if we have a poor digestive system, does that mean that we have a poor immune system? Or if we have a poor immune system, does that mean that we have a poor digestive system?
Yeah, so we absolutely see this as a common link.
Okay.
As the digestive system struggles, the immune system breaks down as well. And so we know that the bacteria in our digestive system, they're basically the gatekeepers to our body. They're checking off whether things can be allowed in or whether they need to be sent on through. And so we know now that these bacteria have a huge role on influencing our immune system and basically influencing our inflammatory state in our body.
Wow, extraordinary. So what are the three main things that we can do to improve nutrients, improve whether it be digestive system, immune system? Where should we start? What should we do?
Yeah, as far as supplementation goes, probiotics is a must. It's an obvious one. as we
Now, probiotics, as we know, I mean, there were those huge marketing campaigns. Remember years ago with Yakult.
oh, yes,
Now, are they?
Yakult.
Is that what we should be taking, or is there better stuff?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Yakult specifically. Like, they have some benefits to them. There's other things in there which
It's got a lot of sugar, hasn't
it's
it?
got a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's only 2 strains of bacteria
Not very strong,
in
is it?
Yakult, so you're missing out on many other strains which have. We haven't actually narrowed down which strains are the best for different things in the body. So as a general rule, we find that the more strains that you can get in a supplement, the better off you're going to be, the more chance you are to do something good for your body, rather than taking the supplements that have only 2 or 3 or 4 different strains.
So, can you talk about what the strains are? Like, what are they physically?
Well, they're just actual bacteria. They're live cultures
So
that live
people might think
in
out
your
there
digestive system.
bacteria are bad.
Yeah, well, this is a very common stigma. It's been around for a very long time. The wrong bacteria is bad, and the wrong amount of bacteria in the wrong places is bad. But
So bacteria, like if we we cook something and we might leave it out on the bench, and then the bacteria grow, and then it's bad bacteria that can make us very sick, can't it?
yes, definitely.
But that's not the bacteria we're talking about. We're talking about bacteria that protect us, that help us.
Yeah,
Okay.
they actually work with the body to provide a benefit to both themselves and to our system.
There was an amazing article that came out a few years ago now. The scientists actually found that there are more bacteria, fungi and viruses on our body and on our skin than there are cells in our body.
Yeah.
So you think about how many cells we have to make ourselves up, there's more bacteria, viruses and fungi protecting and creating the flora around us, and it's just an extraordinary ecosystem.
Yeah, people think of us as just a big living host of
Yeah.
other bugs, basically.
Yep.
But, yeah.
So those bacteria need to be nurtured, or they need to be. Well, what chance do we have this day and age with our diets the way that they are?
Yeah. So what happens is the negative bacteria, the bacteria that cause us more inflammation and cause us issues, they tend to be fed with sugars. So your processed carbohydrate foods, so anything with gluten and wheat and that sort of thing, and just your usual, your simple sugars that we're just loaded in most of what everybody's eating, and fizzy drinks and things like that. They cause an overgrowth of this bad bacteria that creates an inflammatory system, which then leads to all those other symptoms that we're talking about, the joint pain and the sinus-related issues, and even inflammation affects heart disease and Crohn's disease and rheumatoid arthritis and all these sorts of things. So they all stem from this bacterial, basically the abnormal bacteria that develop from all of the things that we're putting in our bodies that we shouldn't be, that's creating this bad environment.
So an imbalance perhaps, or not enough?
Yeah, so it's too much of things that create bad bacteria, not enough of things that create good bacteria, like your fermented foods, which are very uncommon in Western society now. We get a little bit in yogurts and things like that, but a few people are now starting to make their own cultures, and you can butcher and things like that. But again, most people aren't getting those healthy bacteria in, which is where that probiotic supplement comes in. Very handy, easy way of getting some of those good strains of bacteria in there to start outweighing the bad ones.
And then add to that the destruction that gets created if we have to go on antibiotics or something like that.
Yeah, well, this is one of the biggest issues is the antibiotics just wipe out everything, and I've heard it takes about 3 months for you to restore your normal flora, your normal gut bacteria after taking. And so during that whole time, that's poor regulation of your immune system, poor regulation of your digestive system. You're not absorbing nutrients properly, all that sort of thing, all for 3 months after taking a single course of antibiotics.
So definitely courses of antibiotics have to be managed with regards to restoring the good bacteria that they take away. Definitely.
Yeah,
very important.
I pride myself on. I couldn't tell you the last time I had antibiotics would have been when I was a child, I assume, when my parents had given it to me, but certainly none that I can remember in my memory. I'd like to keep it that way.
So sometimes it's not the first step. sometimes when you give the body's immune system support, and then that can kill off a lot. Rather than going straight
sometimes it's
for the
definitely
cannons.
better. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's better let the body give it a bit of a chance to do its own thing first, and save the antibiotics for
Save the heavy artillery.
emergencies.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so probiotics is one great step. What would be a second step that we could implement straight away very easily?
All right. Well, the second one that I always go to is fish oil.
Okay. Yes.
So fish oil wouldn't be an issue in historic times when we're consuming a lot of omega-3s in our meat that we hunted and in our fish that we're eating regularly and things like that.
So we're eating very differently these days.
Eating very differently due to the way that food is now processed and the way that cows are fed and just a million things I could get into. But basically the omega-3 levels are very, very reduced in the food that we eat, and our omega-6 levels are very, very high.
Oh, okay.
And so what we're looking at is that balance in the body between omega-3 and omega-6. And so when omega-6 is too high, the body becomes much more inflammatory than what it is when you have a balance between.
Right.
And of course you wouldn't want to balance the other way either, but it's very, very rare. We don't ever see that happen.
Yeah.
But so taking a fish oil and omega-3 supplement with EPA and DHA in it can help balance out and reduce that inflammatory response that we're getting.
Very good.
The other most important thing, the EPA and DHA, they are very, very important for brain health.
Yes. Okay.
So I was actually this week for someone that I saw had some early onset type Alzheimer's things going on, and so I said take fish oil, and they said, oh, I want to see the research first.
Right.
And it didn't take long. I pulled up about 5 or 6 articles within 5 minutes that had how much fish oil reduces that onset when you start getting that early onset Alzheimer's disease. You can actually see a reduction in how quickly it develops, and you can see some reversal and improvements in brain function just by supplementing with fish oil.
Wow. There were some media pushes a few years ago recommending fish oils for our kids for their brain function and for improving brain function. There's many articles coming out now showing. Now, what about with regards to the oils and omegas and oils, etc.? That reflects into cholesterol, doesn't it? And cholesterol levels in the body.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
many articles stating that all this keeping our cholesterol low at a number point can be causing brain function problems later on in life.
Yeah, cholesterol's another whole issue to go down, and that's
we might talk about the cholesterol issue on another episode on the Health Channel, because there's so much about cholesterol. So a lot of people are fearful that if they have high cholesterol, it can create stroke, it can create a heart attack, etc.
Yeah.
Understand that, and altered levels of cholesterol affect the brain needs fats to work on. The brain is full of fats.
Cholesterol is one of the most important things in our body. All of our cells require it to be able to function. Actually, I think the most damning research I saw was that people who have low cholesterol as they get older have a higher risk of death, higher risk of dementia, higher risk of Alzheimer's. You're actually better off having high cholesterol as you get older.
Yeah, it's remarkable. Well, we will have an episode on cholesterol because it needs to be explored a lot further. Might be our next one.
Possibly,
put it forward. And finally, what is the third step that we can actually do with regards to supplementation when we're talking about digestive health, inflammatory states? What are the other foundational things that we can do?
Yeah, the last one, and I love this one, and this is your antioxidants.
Yep.
So antioxidants, basically the things that our body uses to protect cells.
We've all heard about antioxidants, haven't we?
Yeah, most people have heard of them. We know that your red wine, your dark chocolate, and your green tea, they're all loaded with antioxidants, and this is where the benefit comes from. And what those antioxidants are is just our body's way, our cells' way of protecting themselves from the environment. So any sort of stresses that come in from the environment, whether that be physical, whether that be from exposure to toxins and sunlight and basically anything that the world throws at us, our body uses antioxidants to protects cells from damage. Yeah, and that's
Amazing.
the most simplest way to put it.
Amazing. So they're very, very important in our diet. Well, that's extraordinary. So we've got a few key things that we can actually do straight away. But obviously, understand out there if you need assessments on any dietary recommendations, things that you're following to work through the media, the information that's out there. This is part of our care plans, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely. And sometimes people come in and they're not so concerned about health, but they want to improve some sort of pain that they've got. And it's not until you start addressing all of these different aspects that those things go away.
Yeah.
Another perfect example was I saw someone earlier this week, and she had some pain in her shoulder.
Yeah.
And we realised that it was because of an infection that she'd gotten through the digestive tract.
Well.
And the last time she had this pain, she had the same infection. And so we realised there's no point just treating a shoulder.
Yep.
We need to start looking at the body as a whole,
Correct.
address the inflammation in there, address this infection that's developed, and as that clears, that shoulder will clear up as well.
Correct. Extraordinary. So the body needs to be looked at as a whole.
Exactly.
Because every cell is connected
Yeah.
in some way.
They all work together.
They all work together. That's extraordinary. Thank you very much for that information. Very valuable. Have a great day out there, everyone. Look after your health, look after your diet and everything that you're doing. Get some exercise, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye.